Welcome to another episode of Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news and insights from Littlefield Agency.
Welcome back to another edition of Little Talks with Littlefield Agency. I am Sam Littlefield, and with me is this crazy man,
Roop.
What do you got? What are you drinking there today, buddy?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Is that an Arnold Palmer, a John Daly?
Could be either.
You know who John Daly is?
Yeah, I know who John Daly is.
No, do you know what it is? What kind of drink it is?
It's just anything that's within arm's reach, isn't it?
That's actually pretty good. No, it's a spiked Arnold Palmer.
Oh,
Yes, it's an Arnold Palmer with vodka.
It's just Celsius.
Oh, it's just Celsius?
Yeah.
You doing okay? We're worried about this guy. He's getting fragile in his old age, and you're not old.
We'll see how it goes. I didn't get started on this soon enough, apparently. This Celsius here.
I wish you could have heard our prelim conversation before this, but it's probably good that you didn't. But it's some good ways to...
the police didn't hear it.
Good ways to... for not doing anything sketchy over here. Hey, so it is our... it's a great week, but it's a sad week. It's our Lit Turn's last full week here at the agency.
We got to get a better sad sound.
I know, but
That's
it's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
We have Tatum over here in the house. She's done a heck of a job on the content team. We have Karina and we got Lauren. I believe Tatum and Karina's last day is Wednesday. Lauren finishes on Friday.
That sounds right.
But you all have been awesome. And I don't know. I love summertime and I love having them up here. You all bring an energy and I think just a new outlook on things. They also, if you haven't seen our Littlefield Agency TikTok that went freaking viral, 92,000 views was a result of our Lit Turns and Brandon.
Yeah, he tries not to take credit. We've been doing the intern program for how many years?
This is our fourth straight year.
I think every year the interns are great.
Tatum and Karina and Lauren, we thank you for an awesome summer.
Yes.
And they won't be strangers at the agency.
I hope not.
Not at all. Hey, there's two cool updates in the world of Marco. The first Marco one is Brenda, our project manager, who is a project manager on the Marco account, actually had a baby named Marco.
Did she name her child after the client? Because that's
I don't
dedication.
think so, but possibly knowing Brenda, she might have.
Could we have a little ditch witch coming up?
Or a little grasshopper.
Or a little grasshopper?
Who knows? We'll see. Or a little Williams.
Little Williams? Who knows? Who knows?
Anyway, Brenda Kiefner, we're so happy for you, baby Marco. Such an awesome thing. It's their first child. It's their son, and he's healthy, and mom's home, and mom's healthy, and that's all that,
Everybody
all that
did
matters.
great,
Everyone did
by
great.
all accounts.
Everyone across the board. The other news in the world of our actual client, Marco, is we launched their website today.
Yeah.
And
fanfare music
that's
for
a
that,
fanfare
Claudia?
music for that one. That's
We should for
that's a
both
big
of
one.
them, really.
MarcoIndustries.com. Take a look. It's fresh. It's new. If you find any QA things going on, please holler at Roop.
No, send those straight to Rocco. I don't want any part of it.
So anyway, some good things in the world of Marco. The last thing that we have to hit on is I had a really cool intro call this morning with a guy named Fabrice, and we're going to send this his way, but just a super smart marketer in the B2B space, got his stuff together, and we hope you enjoy this episode, Fabrice, and thank you for the time because I always enjoy it, especially when it's someone that really gets the world of digital marketing. So
We can't say the brand name yet, right?
Can't say the brand name. Don't want to do that to him.
I really want to, though.
But
I really, really want to.
Roop is excited. I'm excited. But anyway, enjoyed it this morning. Fabrice, in the world of digital media, digital marketing, why we do this podcast every week for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
We podcast today and come to you with insane news and our only topic of the day. Topic number 1, Claude. Boom. Let's do it. Roop. What in the world just was announced?
This was not today's script.
This was not.
In
this was not today's
In fact, I had today's script. I had the script planned, printed, and on the table, which I always do the day before. And about 20 minutes later, you came to me with a really great topic that we're going to do next week.
Next week, yep.
And then 5 minutes after that, this news broke, and I said, we can't not talk about something that just happened, you know, this week. Like, it's this huge.
I had people text me about this last night. What's the news?
The news is that after years, on this podcast, years of us talking about cookies going away and being depreciated and Google no longer dealing with them, Google's turned around and decided they're not going to depreciate cookies after all.
What a tease, Google.
Yeah, every headline I read about this, and Claudia and I were looking at, you'll see this, if you can go Google it now, or it'll be in Little Bits on Monday, but we were looking for sources to kind of reference this article for Little Bits. And every headline I read had a WTF behind it, or a question mark exclamation point, or some element of shock from the author that Google had gone this far as to actually turn around. So we thought today we would talk through what the news is, what it means, what the future is, and how it affects you and your media and marketing efforts.
Totally. It's a shocker. I mean, here's the thing, right? In January, it was like, hey, by July of 2024, your guys are all screwed. And here we are in July of 2024. This is a huge win for us marketers.
Yeah, well, that's the start, I think, right out of the pandemic, like 2020, 2021.
No, totally.
And they kept pushing it and giving stave execution.
But you remember they was it January or February, about 1%, they started to roll out. And they're like, it's coming in July. And man, we were duped.
They had some second thoughts on it, and we'll talk about how that happened. I think.
So take this. Why do we care right now, Roop, and what's happening?
So why you care is third-party cookies. Let's cover what that is. If you're new and this is your first or second week on the job, and you're just getting caught up on the world of cookies.
I like a good 101 version. Go ahead.
like to think of everyone that could be listening.
I love that.
So considerate.
I try to be. Why do you even care about this? Well, third-party cookies are small data files that track your activity across the web. And you may think, I'm tracked, I don't like that. It's a good thing, actually. I was talking to Chris about this morning. I don't want to see ads and content that's not relevant to me.
Yeah.
I want to see things that make the internet experience more enjoyable and things that I care about. And that's usually how tracking works. Not always, of course, there's always some outliers out there, but that's how we use them. We're tracking.
And I, as a marketer, appreciate a good marketer that's trying to get into my consideration set. I really do. Maybe that's just how our brain works here in the agency world.
So the thing about these cookies is they usually are tracking you across the web, generally without user consent, which is a key that we'll talk about here on their change. And they've been used to gather information to serve highly targeted ads. These have already been blocked from a lot of browsers like Firefox and Safari. So basically, if it's Apple product, you just assume it's being blocked. See our email podcast from a few episodes ago. So it's not everywhere. It's Google. However, Google Chrome is the most popular browser in the world. So that Google has made this change is good news. Good news for marketers.
Yeah.
Google search and Google commands 90% of search stuff.
Yeah.
So anyhow, they're the game. They've always been the game. It was getting a little shaky there when they were getting rid of cookies. They're like, how are we going to deal with this? And marketers, including our own Chris Kaiser, spent, I don't know. By the way, I tried to get Chris.
I can't even imagine.
I tried to get Chris.
We
on
tried to get
podcast.
Chris here today. He wasn't having it.
And so I said, look,
he's fresh out the plane from Vegas, though. So
he's feeling good. I just told him I'm going to say a bunch of stuff, and if people have questions, they can call him. So that's what we're doing today.
Email Chris. So here's the funny thing is, in the sense of what is Google doing as a next step, kind of they're still teetering with this.
Well, before we go to the next step, I want to say why they changed or what kind of changed.
Go ahead.
So guys like Chris out there had to come up with a solution to a problem that was Google's. Google's is pretty deep pockets, I believe. Pretty big company.
You are
right?
correct.
This is their product and their service and their offering. Well, they didn't really have a solution. And that's why they kept pushing it on and kicking it past. Well, in the meantime, you had dozens and dozens and hundreds of other really smart people, guys like Chris, trying to figure out a way around this problem. Because we still need to be able to serve ads in an efficient way that uses your media budget best.
Yeah.
Not just shotgun stuff out there, stuff that matters. So there were a lot of different options, and it was kind of becoming clear that rather than have a central focus and control point for this, a lot of options was going to cause a lot more problems and a lot more, honestly, privacy and security problems. So the EU, which the European Union, was one of the big players in this. They had some demands. Advertisers went to Google and said, "Hey, man, you've not come up with a good solution here. We don't like what that we're coming up with. So something has to change." And they relented to pressure. Now, the thing that got the EU on board was what's going to happen next. So now we can talk about what's going to happen next. Google's going to be rolling out. I'm reading the article.
It's the truth.
That's what they're telling me. Google's going to be rolling out a new solution that is a kind of one-time prompt on your Chrome browser, on your phone or on desktop, that sets your user preferences to apply across all of your Google browsing experiences. So when this prompt presents itself and you say, "I do not want tracked anywhere," kind of like when you install an app on Apple and ask you, "Does app want to track, yes or no?" Mm-hmm. Do you say yes or no?
Yes.
You always say yes?
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the app, but I usually say no. I don't know why.
I 90% say yes.
It'll be something kind of like that with the Google browser, we think. and that satisfies Europe. Europe's happy with that, and it satisfies advertisers because the people that don't say hide my information, we'll get, it'll be like the good old days. We'll be able to track and retarget and do all the good things we've done in the past.
Well, and here's my question: do people do it? Do people say, "Hey, you know what? I don't want any more"?
So that's one of the big question marks. They're not sure.
What would you do?
I'm probably going to say yes because, like I said,
I want relevant targeting
stuff. Yeah. We don't know what it's going to look like. They didn't tell us what it's going to look like. They didn't tell us when they're going to roll this out. It's kind of like a little bit of a pie in the sky solution for them. So the good news is they haven't depreciated cookies. The kind of questionable news is there's not really still a solution for the problem, but they have an idea and a roadmap for it, it sounds like.
And I think one important note that Roop and I discussed before going live today is you as a marketer, no matter how big or small your company, you're thinking, man, over the last 3.5 years, what have you been doing? First-party data. We've been preaching it to our clients, the importance of first-party data. Acquire, get as much information about your users as you possibly can. And here's the thing. We don't want you to be defeated. It's a great thing.
No, in fact,
what you've been doing, and by the way, continue getting said first-party data.
First-party data is always going to be better than third-party data, no matter what.
Absolutely. Third-party data is fine. First-party is fantastic. Keep building that user up.
That first-party data is the kind of rich data that guys like Chris want to use to start your media tactics. So like that's stuff that he will use in Google and Meta. Maybe there is some Arnold Palmer.
I think there's a little something there. Well, and here's the thing. What I appreciate about my conversation with Fabrice this morning is there's a strategy across the board, especially with when you have that first-party data, and that's your inbound, outbound strategy. That paid media strategy, 1,000%, what we're talking about today with all things cookies. And then there's that inbound strategy, your content strategy and everything that you're doing. And the more relevant information you have, the better it is, and the better your, from MQL to SQL, and then closing that deal. It's a great thing.
Yeah, definitely don't stop that. Just feel good that the media dollars and media you spend now can continue to be optimized and overlaid in the ways we've always done it. So, when is this going to happen? There's no timeline mentioned in any of these articles yet. And by the way, Google announced this on a blog post. Which when I thought about it, I was like, how else are they going to announce it? They don't have a TV channel, but like they announced it in a blog post, and people kind of quickly went through and determined what the good and the bad was of this. Mostly good. But yeah, the digital ad world breathes a sigh of relief.
A sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Temporarily.
A shocked sigh of relief.
And what Roop said, a shocked sigh of relief. That's a great way to put it, Roop. What Roop said earlier, right? We had a whole different topic to discuss today. We've pivoted. Who in the world knows what we're talking about a month from now? Do they completely throw another wrench? We have no idea. We hope not. We're going to take this victory. We don't get victories all the time in our world.
Not too often.
Take them while we can in this, and especially in such a big deal like this. So, I mean, what do you, Mr. or Mrs. B2B marketer, have to do now? I'd say keep acquiring first-party data. Stay tuned. This will roll out. It's interesting. We have some close clients that we have conversations about this topic all the time. We have clients that turn off. They don't want the relevant targeting. They don't want the information shared about themselves out there with the brands and the God knows who of the world. So it'll be really interesting to see. Just Claude, Tatum, would you like the personalized advertising, or are you going to turn it off? Okay, Tatum says yes. Claude?
Yeah.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
Usually I just kind of press a button.
Yeah. Well, most people do. Google actually did a little bit of testing on this to see what percentage they think of folks will say we want out or we opt out or whatever. And it wasn't as much as you would think, which is kind of wild because the Apple users are all like, yeah, let me out. But they claimed, I think I saw this, it was somewhere around like 80% or something like that. We're like, yeah, we're fine. They just clicked it, went on through. It's so commonplace really when you visit a website now and you see the
do you accept all cookies?
Yeah, it's just to get the banner gone, get it away. Totally. It's a hassle.
I rarely reject it.
Most people hit that.
I'd be very curious. Yeah, no. Again, we're marketers though, and I'm okay with the cookies. Partly because I want to see how brands.
I only recently started saying yes when I started working here.
I started making her do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because our HubSpot banner.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know that prior to this announcement, Chris had told me he was planning, he was going to eat up at least 6 months of his life in the coming year to deal with this?
We run on a system called Traction, and Chris's next 6 months were very much focused on everything that he needed to do in this realm.
It wasn't an easy 6 months. It was a hard 6 months.
He's breathing pretty easy today. It all makes sense.
Yeah, he's relaxed.
He is very relaxed.
He's pretty relaxed today.
Yeah, that's interesting. So stay tuned. This is big news. Like I said, temporary win for we marketers.
Yeah, and again, look, Sam and I know a little bit about this, what we read. If you have questions, by all means, littlefieldagency.com, and he'll answer whatever questions you have.
That's
You're
going
not
to be
going to bleep
redacted.
that. Don't bleep that. Leave that in there. Leave that in there.
His email is public. That's
You know
okay.
what, though? There's a form at the bottom of our website. On every podcast, you can ask your questions there.
That's very true. And that is going out here soon.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, we've got 2 really great weeks of content coming up. Next week, we're going to talk about ROI attribution for your B2B brand. How are you closing the loop across the board, especially if you sell through a dealership or distribution network?
Some tips and tricks.
Some tips and tricks.
Yeah.
It comes up a lot on calls, and I got off a call yesterday and went to Roop, and I was like, hey, we need to actually address this and talk about this. So that's next week. And then we're going to further dive in. Last week's episode, Sean Hubbard did an awesome job at Ditch Witch, talking all things content marketing. We're going to just dive even a step deeper. So stay tuned. We got a couple of good weeks as we wrap July. We're in August. We're back to school. Sheesh, it's flying.
Fantasy football, I had to fire the league up. That's how
Oh, damn, yeah.
It's almost time.
It is almost time.
It's that time of the year.
That's right.
It's almost football time.
What's your fantasy football name?
Bishop Sycamore. Do you know who that is? Okay, real
Wait,
quick.
is it the older guys that played high school football?
Yeah, it's the old dudes. I think some of them were like prisoners or something. It's like the old dudes that all got together on a team
remember
and played. They were old and they played at the high school level and just dominated.
And they got caught.
Well, their mistake was they ended up on ESPN2 or something. People are like, "What's going on here?" There's a great documentary
years
about
ago.
it on Netflix, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So got some great content ahead. We are going to tap out. We will see you then. If you have any questions in the meantime, shoot Chris a note.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next week.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
And that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed our little chat and found ways to grow your own marketing strategies. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media @Littlefield Agency.